fighter. I think he's amazing. I think he has great technique. He has crazy knockout power.
That's difference. We all know Tank best weight is 35, 40. You fought Barrios at 40, 35, 40. And you fight Jake Paul, who getting better. I'm like I said, and he got 6 feet tall. Where Tank gonna hit him?
Gervonta Tank Davis set social media on fire with an Instagram post where he told fans, "See y'all soon. I guess ATL gonna be turned." He followed it with another line, "Tell them to send that bag and I'm coming." His words carry 2 messages. First, he's eager to return to the ring, and second, he wants fair business done before stepping back in. In today's boxing world, where fighters juggle legacy with financial security, Tank's post wasn't casual, it was a statement. He showed he's motivated, ready for competition, and unwilling to compromise on his worth. Even before this fight was official, Davis had been vocal about Jake Paul's boxing career. At one point, he outright dismissed Paul's efforts as trash, echoing the skepticism many professionals share about celebrities entering combat sports. He argued Paul only took up boxing after losing interest in YouTube and other ventures. This criticism reflected the tension between boxing purists and entertainment-driven newcomers. Yet, Paul's persistence has forced respect even from those who once mocked him. The fact that Tank is now preparing to fight him shows how far Paul has come, transforming what was once seen as a gimmick into one of boxing's hottest events.
Text that again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, yeah, and that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it. Tell them to send that bag, and I'm coming. And I'm, you know.
The Davis vs. Paul fight has triggered heated debate within boxing circles. Critics say it confirms their fears that boxing has shifted from being a sport built on merit to a spectacle chasing money. To them, this fight risks turning professional boxing into a circus. Yet, history shows boxing has always mixed sport with show business, from Ali's charisma to Tyson's PPV dominance. Spectacle has always been part of boxing's magic. Whether fans view this matchup as a disgrace or a blockbuster depends entirely on how they balance tradition against entertainment.
Think of former athletes and celebrities like Jake Paul taking up boxing. You think that grows the sport?
If he's doing it for the right reason, actually want to do it because of just like actually want to box, it's cool. But if he's doing it for like the wrong reason, just to get the hype and stuff like that, I feel as though it's trash. Sometimes people get bored at what they want, what they doing, and they want to try other stuff. Got to be mentally tough to be able to box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
For sure. That's all I got. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Former contender Jesse Hart jumped to Davis's defense, blasting critics who accused Tank of abandoning legacy. Hart argued Davis is simply navigating today's boxing business. He said Tank has the right to chase financial opportunities, even if some call it a circus. His comments highlight a divide within boxing itself. Some say Tank should fight legacy names like Shakur Stevenson or Teofimo Lopez, while others believe the financial rewards of a Paul fight are too significant to pass up. Hart framed Davis's choice not as betrayal but as smart business, even if opinions remain split.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder. Nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this.
Boxing commentator Andy Ross surprised many by predicting Jake Paul could actually win. He admitted the fight makes sense for both fighters, but argued Paul's size and awkward style might be the difference. Though Paul doesn't match Davis in skill or pedigree, his self-belief and unpredictability create genuine intrigue. Ross's view may be unpopular, but it reflects a minority who believe Paul deserves more respect than the boxing world gives him. Still, doubts remain over whether the fight will even reach the ring.
If you want to join the circus, that's the circus. I don't see the value. I should see money in that, involved in that. If they want the money, if that's what they want to do, then go ahead and go ahead and get the money. But other than that, I'm not. You got a guy, Jake Paul, that's what, 6'3", 6'4", almost. Then you got a guy, Gervonta Davis, that's like 5'5", a little guy. Yeah. Y'all gonna try to, who's 200 pounds, just for Mike Tyson there, I'm gonna throw him in there with a 135. It's just a circus, and that's what they want to do to get money, to generate money in the sport of boxing instead of Gervonta Davis. This is a legacy fight. He was supposed to fight Lamont Roach after this, and then he say, no. Think about it. You really can't say too much. When you say Gervonta Tank Davis and you say Lamont Roach, there's still a question mark on that fight. There was still a question mark on that rumble. You just gonna leave it and then go right to the money and say, no, I ain't. That's how you know legacy and everything don't matter. I did that before. I took the money with the Joe Smith fight when my hand was fucked up and, excuse my language, my hand was messed up, broke in training camp, and I still said, yo, no, I'm taking that, I'm still fighting him. I'm not gonna not fight him again. I'm gonna fight, we're fighting him, Dad. We're fighting him, Rick. We're fighting him, Fred. I want to get everybody. Jesse, don't take the fight, man. Let your hand heal. Let's get the surgery. No, I'm fighting him. It's too close. We 3 weeks out. I'm fighting him.
Coach Bernie, however, dismissed the fight entirely. He doesn't believe it will happen exhibition or not, calling it more hype than substance. His skepticism isn't unique. Many big crossover fights have collapsed in negotiations before. Bernie's doubts highlight boxing's hesitation to fully embrace celebrity-driven spectacles. But with both Davis and Paul publicly committed, his take could easily be proven wrong.
Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis.
Crazy.
Your thoughts on this?
I have locks with Snaggy right there. I think Jake Paul wins that fight. You're way, look, obviously Gervonta Davis has way more experience. He's a hell of a fighter. He's done so much more for boxing and you know, than a lot of people. But to say that, you know, that's not, everyone's gonna want to watch that fight. I think it's a genius idea. I think Jake Paul sets the craziest expectations, and I think he sets the bar so high now in the boxing world. Jake Paul revived boxing. You know, people can say what they want to say about it, but Jake Paul really revived that for the sport of boxing. You know, Joe Rogan once said previously, not so long ago, but he did speak about how boxing would eventually die out and all the eyes would shift to MMA. And it's true. I sit there, I'll watch UFC whenever there's an amazing pay-per-view event. I'm always watching it. Boxing, I don't really watch it as much. And yeah, you can call me a casual to the sport. I'm just getting into it. But the people that are just getting into the sport, UFC is like the new boxing, what it was 20, 30 years ago. So Jake Paul is changing and reviving the sport of boxing, in my opinion. But I think that Jake Paul wins that fight. I love Gervonta as a fighter. I think he's amazing. I think he has great technique. He has crazy knockout power. Don't underestimate him.
You've spoken to him before, haven't you?
Yeah.
When you're doing it was you and Ron Garcia and Gervonta and Tank when they were fighting.
Yeah. I just spoke with Gervonta today, actually. So when I get back to Miami, him and I might do something. I don't know. But, you know, I think, like I said, don't count him out, but I think Jake Paul.
For Jake Paul, this fight represents more than money, it's a step toward legitimacy. For years, he was mocked as just a YouTuber dabbling in boxing. But his persistence and wins over ex-MMA fighters elevated his status. Facing Tank, an undefeated knockout artist, is Paul's boldest move yet to be recognized as a real contender. Even in defeat, if he performs well, Paul earns a credibility boost that critics can no longer deny.
I don't see, even at an exhibition. Now, first of all, we went with the Mike Tyson thing, right? So Mike Tyson, 60 years old. You know, obviously we all thinking that, you know, he had to pull his punches against Jake. Either one of them, both of them had to do something to get through the fight, you know, so they couldn't do their 100% thing in the fight. Now we talking about a 135-pound guy, 5'3", right, against a 6 foot, 200-pound guy. What is the point of that? I'm asking you, what is the point of that? What is the point of that, and how you think that's gonna go? So Jake Paul, just alone, on strength alone, Tank is not we just seen him struggle with Lamont Roach, right? Who's a guy his size. Now, Jake Paul is not as talented as Lamont Roach, but come on now, we ain't talking about 2 weight classes, we talking about 4, 5, 6 weight classes. We gotta go from 35, we gotta go to 40, 47, 54, 60, 68, 75, 90. That's 7 weight class difference. 7 weight class difference. 7 weight class difference. We talking about 7 weight class difference. We all know Tank best weight is 35, 40. You fought Barrios at 40, 35, 40. And you fight Jake Paul, who getting better. I'm like I said, and he got 6 feet tall. Where Tank gonna hit him? Where is Tank gonna land some punches? And he don't throw a lot of punches. Come on now. He didn't knock Lamont Roach out. You gonna knock Jake Paul out? So what's the point of the X?
For Davis, this isn't a risk but an opportunity to grow his brand. Analysts argue that beating Paul will only make Tank more famous, especially among casual fans who don't follow boxing closely. Paul's massive global reach guarantees Davis exposure to a new audience. Plus, this fight doesn't block legacy bouts. If anything, it boosts hype for future matchups, like a Lamont Roach rematch. In this sense, the Paul fight acts as a springboard, not a setback.
Definitely seems like this is that he wants the respect of legitimacy. He doesn't want to be looked at like some type of, circus act. Like, people think that he's doing these fights that are being thrown. He's not legitimate. And his detractors are saying that it's like, yeah, okay, well, you did this and did that, but these guys were old, or they were retired, or this and that. But the fact of the matter is, when you fought a real fighter, you lost. So people are like, you're not legitimate. That's what people say. So after everything I've seen on him, if he can beat Tank Davis, I think he'll have his legitimacy card. If he can beat or do something like Rocky 1 to where you got people questioning who won, then he's going to get all the respect in the world. That's how I think it's going to go. Because I've seen Tank just destroy people, body people, play with his food, with people. You know what I'm saying? Tank is legit as it gets.
Shakur Stevenson also weighed in, offering his fighter's perspective. He admitted that pride would drive him toward a Roach rematch, but acknowledged the huge money involved in fighting Jake Paul. His comments captured the dilemma many boxers face, balancing legacy with financial gain. Some prioritize championships, while others understand that the right fight at the right time can secure generational wealth.
This is the type of event that will probably push him even further along in his popularity. If he puts on a good performance and it's an exciting fight or exhibition and anything, and he winds up somehow looking good in this, I don't know how it is. It's looked to me, David and Goliath, but David got skill and Goliath doesn't, but I don't know how it's going to work out. But if for some reason it winds up being a really fun event and it has tons and tons of millions and millions and millions of viewers, when Gervonta Davis goes back to his next fight, which I hope would be a Lamont Roach fight, then maybe some of that will wash into the next fight and it'll be a bigger fight and more money in it for the fighter that he'll actually fight next, who, again, I certainly hope is Lamont Roach. So why did he do it? It's very, very, very clear that he did this. Gervonta Davis did this for the money, and it's not an illogical thing. And if somebody in his situation has this to do, consider all things considered, hey man, this is what people are gonna do. So he has a fight with a tough Lamont, very, very tough Lamont Roach, who people did not say was a tough fighter before he fought him, but Lamont Roach is a very, very tough fighter. He had a deal already done to fight Jake Paul before he caught that draw. So if I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, I'm gonna say, okay, great. If you you already signed for the Jake Paul deal, that could be $50 million. I'm hearing the numbers I'm hearing somewhere around $50 million. Then if you go back and fight Lamont Roach, and the anticipation for the Lamont Roach fight has increased, then you kind of get a double dip on it, and it may work out extremely well for Gervonta.
Trainer Greg Hackett provided one of the most balanced takes. He argued Davis's choice isn't about desperation but smart business. He reminded critics that boxing has always been prize fighting, and prize means money. Fighting Paul doesn't erase Davis's status as an elite champion or his legacy. Instead, it shows he's taking advantage of a rare opportunity. Hackett stressed that legacy and financial gain are not mutually exclusive. Davis can have both.
People, including Shakur, thought Lamont Roach actually won the fight. So it's a highly anticipated rematch because of the night of the fight. The fight was actually 15-1 in favor of Gervonta Tank Davis. So the whole world wants to see Gervonta Tank Davis rematch Lamont Roach. Was it a fluke? Was it, a bad night for Tank Davis? Was it a style matchup? Bad matchup for Tank Davis? Does Lamont just have his number? They fought twice in the amateurs in close fights. What is it, right? And Gervonta Tank Davis, in the eyes of the boxing world, needs to rematch Lamont Roach. So Shakur addresses why you not rematching Lamont Roach. He was rumored to rematch him. He was rumored to rematch him in June 21st, he didn't sign. Then August 16th, he didn't sign. But he told you the night of the fight, the post-fight press conference with Lamont Roach, that he not rematch him no time soon because he already had this set up with Jake Paul. So Shakur says he would do the same thing as long as he could rematch Lamont Roach because of his competitive nature and his hunger and drive to be great in the sport.
The beginning of it, right? When I first saw the headlines and I saw that they was, instead of him fighting Lamont, he'd be fighting Jake, whatever. At first I was like, damn, Tank, like that's kind of crazy, like that's fucked up. But then I started thinking about it throughout the day. I'm thinking about it, I'm seeing the posts and shit. And I'm like, yo, none of this shit is guaranteed. Like, none of this shit that we do in life is guaranteed. And it's also not a guarantee that we all gonna be here for a long time. You know what I mean? We all know somebody that died too early. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I know about life, when I hear old heads talk, you ask them about regrets. I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that. I wish I could have did this. I wish I could have did that. At the end of the day, man, you're taking a shot at some money. We all wish we could have made that kind of money. I don't understand the issue. He could come back and fight whoever he wants after that. His career is not over just because you fighting Jake Paul. Jake Paul ain't no type of fucking demon. It's not like he about to go in there with Godzilla. You about to play around for 8 rounds, 2 minutes with a dickhead. You know what I mean? No disrespect. But, with somebody that think they know how to fight. This is a bank robbery. You know what I'm saying? This is what people do in the corporate world every day. Steal fucking money. He doing it. I'm not mad at that man. Fuck that. I ain't mad at Tank for some shit like that. I'm mad. I was irked about the fact that I'm a boxing guy and I love great fights. But at the same time, if I stop over here to make some good money and then go back to doing what I was doing, there's nothing wrong with that. Anybody who's waiting around for Tank, or anybody who's so tuned into Tank that they mad, they need to get a life. Because if you think about it, nobody got mad at Chris Brown when Chris Brown said, you know what, I'm gonna be taking pictures after the show and I'm charging $1,100.
And that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.